I was born in Portsmouth in the southern part of Britain in 1939, just after the war started. So I spent all my school time in Portsmouth. My mother took me on holiday to an uncle's farm in Somerset. And one day, I forget, I couldn't think of anything to do. And I said, what shall I do? And he said, well, go and look at the field where the Roman villa is. And I knew nothing about this. He told me that a Roman villa had been found there in about 1820 and had been excavated. So as a kid, I used to wander about in the field and kick over molehills and pick up pieces of pottery and tesserae and pieces of tile. And that's how, at the age of 9, 10, I first became interested in archaeology. So that by the age of 15, 16, I was going away to excavations in Sussex, and in Verulamium, the St Albans, the Roman town of St Albans, and excavating on really professional excavations and learning more and more about the techniques. So archaeology has been in my soul. And I heard the wise words of a very famous archaeologist, a British archaeologist, Sir Mortimer Wheeler. He was a great television personality and a great archaeologist. And someone asked him whether it was a good idea to be an archaeologist. He said, no, don't be an archaeologist unless you cannot bear to think of not being an archaeologist. It was really those words of Mortimer Wheeler that spurred me on to make a career in archaeology. So what I did was I had applied to Cambridge University. And once I got to Cambridge, well, it was fantastic. I was there amid some of the very best archaeologists in the world. I did my doctoral thesis on the Iron Age and the Celtic communities of southern Britain. And from there on, I just sort of stayed with the Celts for much of my working life.
Il est toujours très très curieux, il est tenace, il lâche pas le morceau, mais il va au bout des choses pour bien comprendre totalement.
Il fouillait comme les autres, il travaillait comme les autres, il piochait, il pelletait, il poussait des brouettes. C'est quelqu'un pour lequel j'ai beaucoup d'admiration.
Barry, disons, allie deux qualités essentielles. D'une part, une compétence extraordinaire qui est fondée sur, à chaque fois, les fouilles, c'est-à-dire un travail sur le terrain, et puis une qualité aussi pour expliquer ce qu'il a trouvé, en termes très simples, quelqu'un qui est aussi au service des autres et toujours volontaire pour apporter son éclairage en toute modestie.
Barry a beaucoup écrit sur l'origine des Celtes. Je crois qu'il a mis à plat les conceptions anciennes. Les historiens, les archéologues ont souvent négligé la façade atlantique, océanique de l'Europe. Je crois qu'il a remis cette façade atlantique qui va du détroit de Gibraltar jusqu'à la Scandinavie. Il a remis ça au centre du jeu.
Il a vraiment apporté quelque chose, et moi, ce que je retiens de Barry, c'est le fait qu'il ait complètement inversé les valeurs de la celticité.
Le monde celtique, on l'imagine, quand on regarde les livres traditionnels, comme une sorte de développement à partir de l'Autriche et de l'Allemagne qui viennent vers l'ouest de l'Europe. Or, Barry CUNLIFFE nous montre un mouvement qui va en sens inverse, qui démarre beaucoup plus tôt que les Celtes qu'on nous situe habituellement au 8e siècle.
Il y avait une culture, un peuple d'histoire, le peuple atlantique, donc des échanges, donc un langage.
Quelque chose d'assez fondamental, je crois, aujourd'hui. On commence à penser que cet ensemble de peuples habitant la façade atlantique de l'Europe a joué un rôle essentiel dans son histoire, beaucoup plus qu'on l'a cru pendant longtemps. Il a réussi à montrer que ces influences atlantiques remontaient en fait à la préhistoire.
And all the archaeological evidence really pointed in that way. We know, for example, if you go back into the Neolithic period, 5,000, 4,000 BC, that people were travelling along the facade, megalithic builders, people building passage tombs, as we have here in Brittany and in Ireland and in Scotland and so on. So what I've been trying to do is to emphasise the importance of this western facade of Europe as a place of ideas developing and spreading, and also of the language that we call Celtic developing.
Étant habitant du Yodé, Il a fait 12 ans de fouilles avec Patrick Galliot.
So we were able to find out a huge amount about the people who lived there from the early prehistoric period. It provided a huge amount of evidence for us to understand these relationships across the Channel.
Et donc là, il apporte une dimension qui éclaire à peu près toutes les périodes. Et on ne peut pas faire l'histoire de la Bretagne en la séparant de l'histoire de la Grande-Bretagne.
And what I wanted to do in the book Bretons and Britons was to really look at the nature of that connectivity over a long period of time.
Barry CUNLIFFE, c'est une sorte de pont entre les deux rives de la Manche, entre la Grande-Bretagne et la Petite-Bretagne.
And that's what we were able to do starting in the Mesolithic and very early Neolithic period. And that was the story I wanted to tell, that the sea connects. The sea doesn't divide us, it connects. You have these wonderful carved stone menhirs, beautiful carving on them. The pottery in Brittany is very, very distinctive. So people occupying this peninsula were maintaining their identity through their arts and crafts and their language. Always there is this sense of the fight for identity, which becomes very stark, I think, in Brittany in the 19th century, with the use of the language and the French trying to stamp out the use of the Breton language. And I think there are lots of lessons for us all to learn about those times and the efforts which the people of Brittany made to maintain their identity and still to do so. What I'm really interested in is finding out more and more about people and what motivates people and what has motivated them in the past. And through archaeology, understanding the nature of the human beings being human. And that's something that's very obvious to someone like me coming to Brittany as often as I can, is the number of celebrations there are of Bretonness. It is encouraging people to celebrate their identity. I think that is so important. It's something we've lost or are losing in Britain, certainly in England. But it's very, very evident in Brittany. Language, of course, is the other thing, and that is so difficult, so difficult. How to keep a language alive, particularly a minority language, I think must be the most pressing concern. Making people relish the occasions when Breton is used to entertain through song and dance, through music. I think this is the way to do it. All of these minority languages are going to have to fight to exist, and I'm pleased to see Breton is fighting really very hard.
Barry est tombé amoureux du Yodet, mais de la Bretagne en général. Il a acheté une maison au Yodet.
I think the Bretons are more rooted in landscape and place than many people are. And that is enormously valuable. Again, it's that combination of culture and space and place. And bringing those together and maintaining those is so absolutely crucial. And I think it's something that the Bretons do a lot better than most of the world.
About receiving the Hermine necklace.
It is a most incredible honour. Anyone, I think, who is not Breton, and its long tradition and its incredible list of recipients, and to be among that group is a huge, huge honour. I appreciate it very deeply.